Christmas is come and gone, the new year is nearly here, and yes, I'm wearing a dressing gown. Hiya guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and all beautiful souls of planet Earth. I'm Sean Hills, and this is a Soul's Experience, a channel dedicated to helping the human race remember who we really are. We are back, and we're back with a vengeance. I've had a lovely time with the family over the holidays. It has been stressful. Have you ever heard the saying, do not work with animals and children? Well, I have 5 animals and 4 children here over the Christmas period, and living with them is a lot more difficult than working with them, let me tell you that. Nothing but a sprinkle of love. But as a family man, I wouldn't have it any other way. If there's one thing we can take away from this life, it's trying to be the best we can in the relationships that we have, whether that be with people or animals or in fact plants. Damn it, you can have a hot relationship with a hot water bottle if that's what tickles your fancy. Just watch out you don't get burnt. Anyway, I diverse, I digest, I regress. I can't remember what the word is, but I'm doing it. I'm going off topic, so let's bring it back. We're just going to bring it back. I'm just excited to be back talking to all you beautiful soul experience out there. If you want to become a soul experiencer, all you've got to do is hit that subscribe button. You don't even have to like this video, but hit the subscribe button because there might be a video that you want to watch in the future. Now, let's get into it. In this video, there's 2 things I really want to talk about. The first is the catalyst of 2025. We are right at the end, guys, and there's something really interesting. I've picked up something really interesting about when the world changed 5 years ago. The actual events that caused the world to change started in 2019, and we're going to go back to that in a second because that's really important. Secondly, the thing I want to talk about is 3i Atlas. We have to talk about 3i Atlas. I remote viewed 3i Atlas. I asked where it came from and what it was doing here. I've done this a couple of months ago now, and I heard it, the word Sagittarius, and I kept hearing the word Sagittarius. I saw a giant black hole, and then I heard the words Peaceful Exchange Data Software Information. That's what I got, so I went and done some research, and I found we have a sister galaxy right next door to us that is called Sagittarius. And then the supermassive black hole that I saw in my vision, we have a supermassive black hole in the center of our galaxy, which is the direction that 3i Atlas has traveled from. And that black hole is called Sagittarius A. So Sagittarius, the word I was hearing in my remote viewing session with 3i Atlas, really came in powerful. And actually, scientists have now said that it's come from the direction of the star constellation of Sagittarius. Well, I think it goes deeper than that. I actually think it has been dwelling on the outskirts of our Milky Way solar system, of our galaxy. I actually believe, from what I saw, that it came from our sister galaxy, Sagittarius, and travelled through to our galaxy through the centre of the giant supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A. But how can things travel through black holes without being destroyed? Well, let me tell you, beautiful soul experiences, if you've ever meditated deep enough and travelled this astral plane, you will find that your consciousness travels through black holes as tunnels. It is how we go faster than the speed of light. Light cannot escape these black holes. That is true. And when your consciousness, your awareness is sucked into one of these black holes, which is what happens when you travel through the astral, you will be travelling at a speed you didn't think was possible. The inertia, the first time I've done this, I had to grab the settee that I was sat on. I was in meditation and I was holding because my body was, my awareness, you know, if you wear a VR set and the thing moves, you feel like you're really going to fall over in real life. It was exactly like that. I was meditating and I got sucked into a black hole, and I was going, I want to say, it felt like I was going at around 30 to 40,000 miles per second. Per second. I was going so fast that the very light that I was passing formed the tunnel. The black hole I was getting sucked into, the lights, the colours, the reds, the greens, the yellows, the blues, the purples, all swirling together to make the tunnel. See, the actual black hole, I believe, is the magnetic energetic pull. And what creates the tunnel is the light that gets sucked into it. So when you're getting pulled through, you see it as a tunnel. But in all truth, it is the light that is getting sucked at such a rate of speed that the light starts to elongate. And it starts to form tails, light tails that can move and merge. And they start to merge. It's so beautiful in these tunnels. If you're ever lucky enough to get the colours in your visions, which I only get gifted, they're becoming more and more now, but it used to be 10% of the time. It's now 50% of the time I see colour. The better I get, the better I've become. So the light starts to elongate. The light gets sucked so fast that it elongates inside the tunnel. And so when you get popped out at the other end, for me it lasted, I'm going to say, I was travelling 20, 30,000 miles a second for around 20 seconds. So light years you can travel. And it winds. The tunnels aren't straight. They bend and they swerve and they move. And all of a sudden, you pop out the other end and you're back floating in an area of the astral plane, in the area of space. And then if you stay there long enough, there'll be another tunnel you get sucked into. And you have to allow for whatever intention you've set. You see, at the beginning of my meditations, I wouldn't set intention. I didn't know about setting intention. So I'd be getting sucked through this tunnel, that tunnel. I'd be in areas of space I didn't even know where I was, what I was doing, where I was going. I was just enjoying the ride. It was like the best roller coaster I had ever been on in my life. So how could an object that seems physical to our eye travel through a black hole and still be okay at the other end? Because the actual consciousness of that object is not destroyed. It is warped. And when my awareness, which I was completely aware inside the tunnel, but I was aware that I was being taken for a ride. When I came out of the other end, it was like I was assembled perfectly back to just pop. Like, whoa, that was heavy. Never losing consciousness or sight. Never stop being able to ask questions. Wow, what's that? Look at that. The curiosity of it all was always there. But I was not in control of the movement. I just had to let go and go with the flow. And just trust that where I was going was going to be groovy, man. You know what I mean? It was going to be groovy. So that's how we can travel. That's how objects that seem physical, that look like they're getting destroyed, they're not. They're being taken in, they're being looked after, they're being rearranged to be able to travel at such high rate of speed and then popping out unscathed perfectly fine at the other end. You know, that's how things can travel through these light. Light is not destroyed. You know, and maybe there are craft that are able to light craft. You know, everything is made of light. So if that solid light, which becomes physical, the vibration, if that is, say, sped up inside the black hole, elongated, shaken about, and then the vibration perfectly at the other end slows down again, that's how we can travel. The speed of light. It's the vibration and becoming the vibration of light. So we can now actually move faster than. Because in the black hole, we move fast. It's almost like we become a gas, a fluid, like a particle of something that can just move like a matter, like an unseen force of gravity. Like gravity moves faster than light. Like gravity is an actual particle. It's an actual thing. You know, whatever happens in this tunnel is a force greater than light. If that makes sense. It's a very... Not greater than light, because light still exists in there. It's very hard to explain how you can move faster than light, but light can still exist. But light changes form in these tunnels. Light turns to like a gas in these tunnels. It really does, like a lighter form of itself. You know, as if light is not the lightest. You know, but that's another story in itself. So anyway, Anyway, we digress again. So that's how we travel through the tunnels. So I did remote view 3i Atlas for the second time, and I wanted to see what was inside. Now this gets crazy, and I don't want to lose you all right here. So quickly, before I tell you what I saw inside 3i Atlas, I just want to really quickly touch on the catalyst of 2025. I need to talk about this because from the vision that I had a year or 2 years ago now, a year and a half possibly, the vision I had of the lake of fire, and then a man holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa, trapped from the waist in rubble. He was trapped in the rubble, right, holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So the lake of fire, I actually thought it was water when I first saw it, and the voice of the spirit said that's fire, because I saw a lake. I'm like, what? There's a lake. That ain't me assuming it's a lake of water. But the spirit said that's fire, and I was like, whoa, that's a lake of fire. And then it changed, and I saw rubble, and a man was trapped. All his leg, he couldn't get out, but he had one arm extended. It was a tanned man, and an elderly gentleman in his 50s, maybe 45, he looked quite healthy, had a bit of chub on him, a bit of fat on him. You could tell he ate well. And the man was holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which I actually first thought was the London Tower. Me being from London, I thought, oh, that's the Tower of London. And the voice of the spirit said that's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I thought, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So what I done is, I thought, okay, volcano, Italy. Because me being, not from Italy, just assume the Leaning Tower of Pisa is in Italy, which it pretty much is, but it's actually located in a place called Sicily. Sicily is an island, literally just hanging off the boot of Italy. It's practically Italian, but they are Sicilian. It's like, you got Greece, and then you got the Greek islands, and if you had like a little island over here, you class yourself as that island. Or Jamaica, and then you've got Trinidad, and you've got St. Thomas, and all these other Saint Islands. You would class yourself as that island. You wouldn't say I'm Jamaican just because you lived in an island near Jamaica. You'd call yourself Barbados, or, like a Trinidadian or something like that. You know what I mean? So just because you're, Caribbean. But, Sicily is actually an island, which is just off of Italy. And so when I first looked up what was happening, because I had no idea. In my visions, a lot of the time I'm showing things I do not understand. I have to go and see if what I've seen makes any sense at all. Now, I discovered straight away that Italy is one of the most dangerous places on planet Earth for volcanic activity. I was sucked into Campi Flegrei because literally 2 weeks after making my video, which I've made and put on my channel from a year and a half ago, after making the video 2 weeks later, Campi Flegrei woke up and they started getting a lot of earthquake activity underneath the crust, which is an indicator for volcanic activity later on. So the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos I made about this subject over the past year, trying to warn people, hey, I've had this vision, volcano in Italy, and there's 500,000 people living in that caldera of Campi Flegrei. Of all of us, I've had to learn so much about the Phlegreian fields in Italy through this research, because what I'm showing in my visions is not shown for fun and shits and gigs. I believe the Lord, I believe the Spirit and God, if they're gonna go through that much work, and if we're gonna go through that much work to sit in meditation for hours or months on end and find Spirit, find God, find the truth, and then start having a meditation-ship, communication-ship, relationship with Spirit, a concentration-ship, when we start really concentrating and having that beautiful relationship, then we get these beautiful messages. It isn't for fun. Yes, it's amazing. Yes, it's glorious. Yes, it's fantastic. And it proves we live beyond the body. It proves that the body is not the be-all and end-all, and actually it's just another material, physical thing to be used here on earth. And it's not actually us. I can't take any pride in who I am as a physical being. I can only take pride in who I am as a spiritual being. allowing the spiritual to form into and blend into the physical, then we can be proud of that if we can merge the two. But the physical is an avatar. It's an avatar we picked before we were born. You know, something to be cherished while we are here. Yes, to be looked after, but not to take too much pride in, look what I created. yeah, we were born, guys. Yeah, we did not create shit. Now we go down the gym and we force some evolution and we build some muscle, we get ourselves in shape, then we can make the most of what we were gifted, but we did not create the body in the first place. That was a manifestation of a team effort, of a spirit made in the image of the Lord, which really means an agreement. Everything we do, I believe, in the spirit world is an agreement. We are not forced. We're not forced to come here, forced to look a certain way. We agree with our spirit guides, with our team, and then ultimately with God themselves. These gifts that we were born with, that have lied dormant, give us these spiritual messages, these visions, prophetic words, and people have used the term downloads now, but I use the word remembrance because all of the knowledge is already inside every single one of us. So if you think that because you don't look a certain way, because you don't speak a certain way, because you don't have the right group of friends, if you think that you're not spiritual for them reasons, then you're wrong, my brother. You're wrong, my sister. Because if you're a human being, let me tell you, you're spiritual. So I had to keep warning the people about these visions that I was getting. And I kept on focusing on Campaign Flagray. However, over the past 3 days, Mount Etna has been spewing her lava. And where is Mount Etna? Mount Etna sits on the island of Sicily, exactly near to where the Leaning Tower of Pisa lives. Mount Etna. When you hear Mount Vesuvius, don't you feel something in your atoms, in your cells, when you hear that word? Mount Vesuvius, Mount Etna. These names, they send a shiver into my body of great power, of great respect, of great love. And I think the respect is what we need to be. We need to respect these mountains, these volcanoes. And whose idea it was to build a whole entire nation upon these great mountains? Well, you got some kahunas, mate. You got some kahunas bigger than my head. Because you wouldn't catch me living there. With the knowledge I have now, I would be out of there. And I'm saying to all my Italian brothers and sisters, all my Sicilian brothers and sisters, I understand your generations have been there for millennia. Your generations is your home, and how can we just leave our home? How could 500,000 people just evacuate? And that's just the immediate, kill zone. We're talking an extended 5 to 10 million people around the area to be affected. And then, if it's big enough, we're talking about a nuclear ash cloud, volcanic ash cloud, what they call a nuclear winter, where the volcano, the ash spews so much of it into the atmosphere that actually it covers the whole globe, blocking out the sun, sending us into a volcanic nuclear winter. Right? And I might not have got the terminology on that, but you know, when the sun gets totally blocked out by the ash, it's like a nuclear winter, isn't it? Well, and I mean, that's a possibility. And that could be the 3 days of darkness. You know, we all go through 3 days, which is, for me, took about 3-4 years, still coming at the end of it. You know, there's no 3 days about the dark. Hey, if you get through your 3 days of darkness in 3 days, then I want to hear about it in the comments below. I believe we have to keep a lookout for Mount Etna and Mount Vesuvius. And apparently, with new technology, they've just discovered another 2 supermassive volcanoes in the ocean just off the coast of Sicily. As if they needed any more volcanoes in Italy. They're literally discovering new ones all of the time. I really, really pray for these people. And look, guys, we all have a birthday. we all have a death day. We all decided who our parents were going to be and how we were going to come into this life. And we all decided on the possibilities of how the most likelihood we were going to leave this life as well. So if you're one of the beautiful souls that thought, you know what, I'm going to go up in the great eruption of Campe Flegrei. I mean, what a way to go. Huh? What a way to go. If we all got to leave someday, you know, you can go in a bed at 100 years old, or you can go bang like a giant Italian firework. And I'm really not trying to make light of what could be an extremely devastating situation for so many people. I'm not making light of it, but come on, guys. Come on, we can't take this life that seriously, can we? We pop down here for, 100 years. Fingers crossed, pop down here for 90 to 100. I'm going to stop saying 70 to 80 years because that's speaking things into fruition. I believe human beings are capable of living a lot longer nowadays. Come on, guys. So, we pop down here for 100 to 120 years. Max, maybe. 150. 200 if you really look after yourself. Wink, wink. Let's go. Let's push that 200-year-old human being. Come down here for a couple of 100 years. It's just going to keep building. Come down here for 1,000 years. No, come down here for 80 to 100 years. Yeah? But we're eternal. And we've been here before. And again, and again, and again. And you have probably died that many traumatic deaths that you've lost count. Has to be written down in the old Akashic records. I've had so many lives I can't even remember. What's going on? So let's not take it too seriously. It is what it is. Life is life. We spend the first half of our life taking it all so blooming serious. What do I look like? Who's going to like me? Who's not going to like me? Oh, I don't have a girlfriend yet. Oh, I'm still a virgin. Oh, all these things. Growing up, oh my God, we think it's so important, and it is in the time. It is because we're living that human experience when we're still walking around very much asleep and blind. But now we can see beautiful soul experiences. Now we can see the truth. That is all just a big bloody game. It's all just a big play, but it does have a purpose, like the great Shakespearean plays of old. It is always a battle of good versus evil. This is the team of Love, Light, Unity, bringing love, light back to consciousness where we can all reunite in harmony. So, yes, let's keep the positivity going. Next, we're going to talk about what is inside 3i Atlas. Now, I really should get a pen and paper for this because this is going to blow your mind. Right, guys. Right. I found... I found a couple of Sharpies and an old letter. Oh, the professionalism on this show astounds me. No, I'm actually going to fold this letter. So at least it's folded in the right way. Do you know what? But the message is too important. I can't run downstairs. I can't run downstairs because as soon as my son sees me, he's going to want the old recording equipment to make his own videos. That's the real reason I can't run downstairs. Right, but I have got some paper, guys, and I have got some pens, and we're going to do this. I'm going to show you what I saw inside 3i Atlas, okay? And look, like I said, in my visions, I get shown things. I'm like, what the... You expect me to go out in public and tell the world what I've just seen? Lord... God, why are you showing me this? But, hey, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the truth. I'm not afraid of the truth. So, I remote viewed 3i Atlas again for the second time. 3 weeks ago, and I've been holding this in. I did... Oh, man, I was worried. If I'm being honest, I was worried people were going to think I'd gone absolutely nuts. Okay? I'm just trigger warning. What I'm about to show you is actually I think it's actually you'll understand, guys. Actually, I think you'll understand. So I was remote viewing 3i Atlas. I'll tell you the bit at the beginning real quick. I don't think it's very important. I believe 3i Atlas is guarded. It is guarded by certain entities, and I was tested before being shown inside. So I set the intention. I want to see inside 3i Atlas. I want to see if it's rock. I want to see if there's water in there, or if there's like coal or gold, or maybe it's mineral, maybe it's a ship, maybe it's mechanical. What is it? I had no idea. I don't, I just knew it wasn't a comet. I knew it wasn't just a comet. Yeah, so I wanted to remote view inside 3i Atlas, and I got into my space of meditation. I broke through the veil, as it were, connected to spirit, and straight away I saw these beady eyes, man. And there were some beady eyes, perfectly round. That's the thing that got me. The eyes that I saw, they were perfectly round, with perfectly round black bits, and like, I want to say like a green, like a greeny grey colour, perfectly round eyes, and a head that was shaped, huge head, that came in like a V. And then what looked to be little horn bits that came out the cheek. And if you've seen the film The Predator, got the perfectly round eyes and like some teeth coming out the side. The entity I bumped into looked a lot like that, and it even had the hair, the dread things. I'm just going to show you for like a reference. I'm just going to imagine that was a mouth. This is going to be a really bad, quick drawing, but this is just for like reference. This is just for reference. If you imagine like beady eyes and it had like the horns coming out the side with this like dreadlocky hair, but looked, you know, it was beefy, this entity I ran into, and it had like an armor on it, but the armor was like metal and leather. So it had like leather patches, but underneath the leather patches was metal and like plates, but he had like leather strap come round, and it had like a leather square over this chest but diagonal, and then it had like a leather square over this chest by diagonal, but underneath the leather was like armor, like an armored suit, almost like a metal suit but not really metal. It was like weird materials on top of wearing layers. And when I ran into this entity, the first thing I thought was demon. The first thing I thought was, you look like a demon. But I didn't get a demonic energy from it. I got a guarding, like a guard, like Holt. Like, Holt, who are you? Like, where are you going? What are you doing? What are your intentions? And I was stopped in my tracks. And I responded back, I am a warrior of love and light. And I answered to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is my saviour. Jesus Christ is my king. Jesus Christ is my role model. And I am not scared of the dark. I am the light. And when I said that, the demon disappeared. And I was taken into the middle of 3i Atlas. I say the demon disappeared because of the way it looked, but it was not. It was portrayed to me as a being that I did not recognise, which is fearful. But I wasn't attacked. I wasn't made to feel scared. I was literally halted in my tracks and tested, questioned, as it were, you know, to see who I was, what I'm doing there, and whether or not they were going to show me the information that they ended up showing me in the end. So what did I see? This is where you guys are going to come in really, really helpful now. This is where you guys can do some homework for me. You guys can do some research for me. I'm going to do some myself, and we can make another video about this and see what is going on. So I'm just going to... So first of all, I was taken inside 3i Atlas, and I could see a craft. Okay. Now this craft looked similar, but I've not actually seen anything like it. So this is the bit I really wanted to draw for you guys. So it had legs going up, or a leg, a stand, and then there was a giant bolt, like a stand and a bolt, and then the leg came off the other direction, up like this, so the stand started to look like this, and then at the top of the leg, what looked like a leg, was a pod. There was this rounded pod. And then this bit down here actually had a stand on the foot. It actually had a little stand here. So I was shown one of these. I was shown this. And all I could see at first was this. And once I understood, I looked, I saw and I thought, that's some sort of craft, that's some sort of pod. And this disappeared. And I was shown this. All of a sudden the space opened up and I was right in the middle of 3i Atlas. And I want to show you what I saw. So I'm just going to try and draw this really quick. I know it's not very fun watching me just do here, but I want you to imagine, right, that you're stood inside of a 500-foot metal air balloon, a Zeppelin. A Zeppelin. Do you know what the Zeppelins are? Yeah? In fact, I've got bloody Zeppelin on my cup here. Led Zeppelin. Huh? What's the chances? Oh, maybe it's a sign. You know, I've loved this band since I was 13. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign. Yeah? It was like a Zeppelin. So I was stood inside. This is about 300, 500 foot long. Huge. The interior. And this would have been about 60 foot, 70 foot high. Now this is just a reference. There was a lot more of these was stuck all over the wall. You see these stands with these pods on? These were all over the wall. Everywhere. And it was hollow. Inside this was a hollow gherkin shape. You see this shape? Like a Zeppelin. That's what it looks like inside. And I was shown that the outside is covered in a camouflage type material. It is metal. There's metal on the inside of this craft. What appears to my human knowledge to be metal. It could be a type of material that I am not aware of. It could be a type of material that I am not aware of. But all I can show you is what I saw. So at first I was just shown this. And I thought that looks like a Tic Tac. You know the Tic Tac UFOs that we catch flying around? It looked like a Tic Tac, but it was on this stand. Now I don't know whether this craft comes like this. With a stand, because this bit reminded me of a fishing reel. You know when you put the fishing reel on your rod, and it has this little bit you clip in at the bottom, a little flat bit that you clip in, that you screw up the collar, and it clamp. That's what it looked like. It looked like the bottom of a fishing reel, but huge. Like this would have been, if I was stood next to this, I'm 5'8". This would have been 15 foot high. 20 foot high, just one of these. I would have been down here somewhere. If I was stood next to it, I would have been like here. So this was tall. And then above this was another one. And another one. And then there was just rows. There was just rows of them. Rows of them inside 3i Atlas. Which appeared to me to be a mothership. 3i Atlas appears to be carrying hundreds of these pods. Of these pods on these things. Now, I'm not sure whether there's a mechanism where this, because there's a joint here, whether a part of 3i Atlas opens up and this arm extends out and releases these pods up here. These Tic Tac pods. That could be a guess. Or whether this folds up, because it looked like these were, they had stands, but these were attached to the wall. They were stuck to the wall. They were going up the wall. So they weren't on the stand. They were attached to the wall somehow. So whether it's attached to the wall and the side of 3i Atlas opens up and releases these. I don't know how it works, but that's what I saw. I saw hundreds of them. All up the wall of this shape. So if any of you beautiful soul experiences out there have seen a craft with this at the bottom or know what this is, please, please, please let me know. If any of you have decided to remote view 3i Atlas yourself and have seen something similar, please let me know. But what could this mean? These pods carrying hundreds of, these pods. What could this be? What do you think? Let me know. All I can think to say right now is we should watch out while we're observing 3i Atlas to see if there's anything that looks like multiple things leaving. If we look at 3i Atlas one day and we see specks, hundreds of specks, multiple specks just leaving 3i Atlas, we know what they are. Yeah? Whether we'd be able to detect them or not, because I was shown that this area I was in, this could have been one area of 3i Atlas, but it felt like I was in the belly. It felt like I was right in the middle. And I could feel almost, if you had built a structure into a mountain, and so you're in this structure, but you know there's hundreds of feet of rock above you, that's how it felt. It felt as if this structure, they had almost grown ice and rock on the outside, potentially from travelling through the universe, collected ice and rock on their ship. And inside the rock and ice is the truth. But it felt like there was mountain above me. It felt like where I was so hidden, so secure, like safe. There was no way that human beings were going to be able to detect what was inside this rock. That's how it felt. And it felt hollow. Apart from these, it was a big space in the middle. It felt like there was a big, hollow, gherkin-shaped space in the middle. And if we detect that as well, we know what it is, guys. We know it's this area here, housing all these pods. So there's two things we want to look out for now. More sightings of the Tic Tac. Loads more sightings of the Tic Tac UFOs turning up, because that means what they've done is they've deployed the Tic Tacs to come and do that peaceful exchange of data software information down here on Earth. A bit of the old exchanging of the old reconnaissance mission, maybe. Exchange some information about what they've picked up, what we've picked up potentially, from them. And so we're going to look out for a higher increase of Tic Tac UAP UFO sightings. We're going to look out for multiple fractals of 3i Atlas, things leaving, things returning, potentially things leaving, things returning. So the actual mass decreasing, but not the size. Maybe the mass decreasing, but not the size. That would be interesting. All of a sudden it looks like it doesn't weigh as much, but it's still the exact same size. Maybe hundreds of pods have just left. Yeah? And the other thing we want to watch out for is, what was it said, a Tic Tac, multiple things leaving, and, what was the third one? I got it. Finding out there is a giant, hollow, gherkin-shaped, Zeppelin-shaped space in the middle of 3i Atlas. So, Zeppelin-shaped hollow space, 3i Atlas. The weight changing while the mass remains the same. And an increased uptake in Tic Tac UAPs. Or a sighting of a UAP that looks exactly like this, with the stand. Maybe it flies around with that. Maybe it lands like that. Maybe it gets released with all of the equipment in it. Maybe a sighting of it, because I've not seen a UAP that looks like this ever. I've seen the bit on top. I've seen the Tic Tac, but I've never seen the legs. I've never seen this leg. So if we see a sighting like this, we know what's going on. See multiple things leaving and returning, we know what's going on. Potentially just leaving. Who knows? Who knows? Guys, I told you it was a crazy one. But this is it. Please do your research. Have a look for me. Find out some beautiful information. That's what we're here for in this channel, to help each other. And yeah, there you go, guys. That's what I saw. The Tic Tac on the stand. And the multiple things. So basically, just to wrap up this video, we're going to have to keep an eye out for Mount Etna. The new volcanoes they've just discovered off the coast of Italy, which could potentially cause a tsunami, which would bring down the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Campo Flegrei, all of the Italian basically the Italian volcanic region activity. The whole blooming country, basically. Just keep an eye out for that. That could very well be the catalyst of 2025. 2025 isn't over yet. And like I was going to say in this video at the very beginning, when I saw the world change in 2020, which I did in my vision, the same vision where I saw the whole world change in 2025, a world-changing event, what I've been calling the catalyst of 2025. When the world changed, okay, everyone, right, got put under restrictions. Weren't allowed to leave, had to wear certain things. Right, now that all came in 2020, but however, we know that the very sickness that was causing all of these restrictions came in 2019. At the end, people were getting sick in the October, the November and the December. But the restrictions and the world lockdown wasn't put into place till the 2020, around February, March. 6 months later, going into the new year. Now, I've said on previous videos, I saw the catalyst coming in June, July. 3i Atlas was first discovered at the very beginning of July. You couldn't get more in the middle of June and July if you tried. So maybe the catalyst has been here for 6 months already. Maybe the results, the restrictions, the lockdown, whatever comes from it, doesn't happen till 2026. Now, this would go in the pattern of what happened in 2020. And I did see the world-changing event happening in 2025. And there is still time for that yet. I saw balloons. I saw fireworks. I saw celebration. And then I saw an explosion. A collapse of an old way. A complete destruction of the old. And from it came a golden beam that shot out all the way to 2057. And so, guys, we're right at the end of 2025. I don't know what to tell you guys. Hold on to your hats if you got one. And if you haven't, go buy one and hold on to it. Because things are about to go a bit cray-cray. I can feel it in my very bones. But until that time happens, look after those around you. Love your pets, your animals, your siblings, your mums, your dads, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, sisters, the birds, the bees and the trees. But don't forget to love yourselves. Because if we don't love ourselves, then we can't give those around us the love that they truly deserve. And then we can't receive the love that we all truly deserve. And I don't want that for anyone. I want everyone to be in love and unity and consciousness and harmony and lifting up them good vibrations. And it's not always easy when you're going through a rough, hard time. And I get that. There's some days we want to curl up into a ball and say, why me? How the hell is this fair? But what we must do is remember that we are cycles and that them low times are low times for a reason. It's from them that we get pulled, that tension gets built up, and like an elastic band, pop, we spring back into action. Never to quit, never to say no, never to surrender. That reminds me of an old karate film, actually. No retreat, no surrender. There's the one. If you were born in the late 80s, grew up in the 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I've fallen into the pattern of very much rambling. This video could go on for another hour if I don't say goodbye now. So until next time, I love you all. I will see you all soon. Please enjoy your new year. Don't live in fear. We are here for the golden age of Aquarius going into 2026. Come on, you beautiful soul experiences. I will see you soon. Love you all. I've been Sean Hills. This has been a soul experience. And you have remembered who you really are. Take care for now.